Hey, this is Gameplaydismay. When Gaddick is coming at you, doing the Patlabor 2 movie, directed by Mamoru Oshii, and it's from 1993, I believe. And we got my counterparts here, Javier and Mark. If you want to say hi,
Hey,
Hello, this is
there they are.
Javier, aka Cannon Fodderall.
Yeah, and
I'm also here.
Arc 2, Arcus 2. But yeah, so just gonna start off. What do you all think of this movie? And your thought, and what do you think about it? Patlabor 2.
Well,
I
this
think
movie was not my scene.
Yeah,
not your scene. You weren't picking up what they were putting down.
it's not your
Well,
bag,
with
baby.
Beautiful Dreamer, no, like the themes are cool, but the pacing, maybe I'm just too spoiled. Maybe my attention span's shot, but like the pacing, there's so many like monologues while they're just having slow pans of the city go by
Yeah, I was
and
like, what is this,
someone
Metal Gear
staring
Solid?
off into space. At least with Beautiful Dreamer, it's like each character was like distinct enough that even though I've never seen the show, I'm like, all right, this guy. But everyone here, like, I don't know who's in the show. Who's this is kind of, I guess, my fault for
Yeah,
not being
it
familiar
doesn't
with the
it doesn't
show.
help by
I'm
us
like,
kind of jumping in the middle of the series or something like
they're
that.
all wearing the same outfits, and they're like, I don't know any of their names, and they all act pretty similar except for one or two people because they're all in the military.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
I think, unlike Beautiful Dreamer, this one would have been better if we weren't familiar with the show.
or just watch the
or
first
just
movie.
or watch the first one at least. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
Because
might have introduced the characters a little more better, or a little
from what I
better,
can tell, I think
or at
all those
all.
characters were from the first film, and
I think they are. Yeah.
so we would have been better off
So
actually
full
having seen the
spoilers
first movie.
ahead, and then we're kind of doing this backwards. Uh,
No, we're just out of order. We're achronological. We're just
yeah, we're
backwards.
just kind of throwing it around. But we're trying to do. I was trying to do all of Mamoru Oshii's movies here, and he does a
There's quite
bunch
a
that I
few.
didn't know that I've already seen. So like out of his, um, and of all the ones that I've seen of his, this one's definitely I think the one that is my least favorite. I get from what I've seen. I definitely like Angel's Egg better so far. Uh, But I like the pacing is all kind of like out of whack. All the characters are, and when they are monologuing, it's all like kind of he does have like a very, I'm picking up on his style. It's all very kind of dreamlike, and it's all like, and then in Ghost in the Shell you see it too. I'll talk about that later. But uh, everybody kind of just stares off and has like a monologue, and there's just like animation of like the city or like a scenescape or something going by in the background or just like a boat or something. In this movie especially, it's just like a road or a railroad or something. Some of it I dig, some of it is kind of just there's too much of it, and I think it's all out of whack in this movie. uh but I do like that kind of his kind of that style that I'm picking up on of his.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we've actually sort of accidentally fallen into Mamoroshi's over here. But I will say this: that was absolutely the art style. I was just blown away. I was like, man, this is the
Yeah,
prettiest thing I've seen in a long ass time.
yeah, I love, yeah,
And it's
same.
like that's just knocked out. I mean, even though it's had some issues trying to watch the damn thing, which I'll get into later if we have time to talk about it.
What? This guy won't
What I
die.
did notice is that this is like I know we're talking about set pieces and whatnot, but
Whatever,
I
you know?
actually enjoyed all. I enjoyed the art style, enjoyed the set pieces. They were
Go ahead.
pretty darn fantastic. The art just like was really just amazing, and I was like, man, they really don't animate them like this anymore. I thought the style was great. It was naturalistic. It was um, all the character designs. I mean, even though they weren't exactly distinctive, I felt they were. They were. I could start to tell people apart, and I like the little subtle details they give with characters. Like if you noticed, the military, the government agent had those constant lazy eye. It's a cool little detail.
Yeah, like the bad
Stuff like
guy,
that.
like, or not, like, I guess what he comes to be the bad guy, but like I kind of like I didn't really trust that dude, and then he looks kind of like nefarious or whatever.
Yeah, and it's neat. And I will give the movie credit, just plot wise, for being okay. We're gonna make a show about giant mechs, but by the way, it's all political intrigue, and then for the most part, honestly, do a great job pulling it off. I mean, I was I was saying that it was the prettiest thing I've seen in a long ass time. I really enjoyed the animation style, and I know the pacing was slow, but I was really drawn into and appreciating the absolutely incredible artwork, the way it was done. It was just, I was like, man, I felt like this was actually pushing the genre forward, like in terms of what you could accomplish with animation, and in terms of just setting. And it's like I felt like this movie was so composed. It was really amazing. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but I just every time I looked at it, even just on the TV there, when I could watch it, it was like, man, this is all just such a pretty series of pictures.
Yeah, they did so many pans over the city. It's like watching a slideshow.
What
Yeah.
happened is they made the city a character. I mean, they made it. It was an intrinsic part of the scenario because
It's about the city.
It was about the city, and well, I mean,
That
much
dude.
as like foreigners, much as like the way foreigners think New York is America, everyone thinks Japan is Tokyo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I touched on this before. Like something like over half the population is in the Tokyo metro area. So I mean, that's quite a lot of people.
And the guy even says it at the end, and he's like, he's like, the city. He's like, I want to see my city.
Looks like a mirage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Just the heat waves. That's all he's talking about.
But they're real.
Heat waves
Heat
aren't
waves, it was
mirages.
snowing. It was snowing.
Illusions. I remember, yeah, I seem to recall going up to New York once, and you could see the heat shimmer around the city just because it was so concentrated.
Oh wait, am I down? No, that's someone else. I'll get you. Oh
I've
wait,
flown out of Denver a few times, and it is just a sea. It's a city and a
wait.
sea of
How
fog
did I
in the
not
middle of
shoot?
nowhere.
What the hell was that? I think I hit the wrong button. But yeah, I love parts of that where he goes like, where he does kind of wander off and does the pans of the cities. But I think he'd use it too much in this one and not in the right parts. Or it was like, yeah, it was the flow was like all out of whack, and especially the opening. I was like, who are all these people and why are we just jumping around between them? I guess yeah, it would have made more sense if like as a middle part of like a series or something.
Man, that guy saved us.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm fairly certain that it's more or less of a direct continuation.
Yeah, it seems like in the middle of like a season.
The series, the show and the series or whatever.
Yeah, like Cowboy
And,
Bebop or something.
But the thing is, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm just impressed that he managed to like, oh, we've got this program about mechas, and then I'm going to make a show about political intrigue, and then absolutely, for the most part, successfully carry it off. I mean, not to point figures in, I'm not bitter or anything, but you know, you, Brian Johnson, that's how you subvert expectations. Making an engaging story. That's all I got to say about that.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get bogged down there though.
Because I going in, I was like, finally some mech action, and I was like, oh sweet, they got these giant suits. I was like, it's gonna happen. It happened at the end, but like for a little bit, and I was like,
10 minutes of the movie.
yeah, and then I was like, oh, this is just Metal Gear. I was like, just political, like whatever, intrigue or not intrigue, commentary and like the city and like whatever, and that guy, and I like that guy's military like point of views, and then wasn't one of the other guys like kind of like agreeing with him or something weird, or like I felt like he was like on his side, but at the end he was like, oh yeah, he catches him, well the investigated guy that was working with him the whole time, but he wasn't the real enemy.
I think the important is he's like kind of on the fence, you know what I mean? And he's actually giving some credence to this idea.
It's fire.
But he also has to recognize the situation he's in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. I don't know if we're ready to get into that yet. But the whole plot and scenario and the...
Yeah, I need a little help on the plot because I feel like I was definitely getting lost of which kind of characters were who, and I know it's the chick, the main guy that's with her, the Asian guy, the investigator that they're talking to with the lazy eye, and then there's the main bad guy who you only really see a couple times, and then a bunch of side characters.
Yeah.
Or I feel like those are the main characters of what's going on. Where do we go?
Yeah, we go to this dot thing, pick up some stuff, I guess. Oh yeah, I forget we can buy crap too.
Yeah, if Angel's Egg is Dark Souls, then this movie is Metal Gear. I almost thought it was, but I was thinking of Police Knots is what Kojima did.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
they seem very similar, like police with mechs.
I'm hoping the
Tokyo.
first one is more
And from what I gathered, my
more
cursory
action.
research, it's more about running around and enjoying cop mechs. But I did like
Yeah.
one aspect of it is like these mechs are they're underpowered.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
they're
not just the movie.
they're getting
There's, like,
destroyed at the
film
end there.
and-
I was like, come on, tanks. It's like, I like how he had that giant revolver in his boot. That was fun. And yeah, they were getting blown up a lot in this movie. Reminds me of Appleseed. If you guys ever seen Appleseed, it's like that.
I think I saw it a while ago.
Yeah.
And that's all they even get into that at some point. But yeah, it is neat. It's just.
But so yeah, what's going on with the okay? So I guess moving on here. What do you guys think about the story and I guess the characters? What we can.
I mean, Mix were a great thriller, and I was really impressed by that.
Yeah. At first I was like, man, this is boring. Where's my robot action? And then I was like, all right, what the hell's going on? I was like, I need to know what's happening.
Yeah, the story's cool.
Yeah.
Breaking it down, so they don't have a military because of World War II.
Yeah.
They have like their defense forces. But
Yeah.
the defense forces were the ones like being framed for the coup and turn.
They go into it pretty deep. I just don't like the kind of some of the long shots that he uses for when there's talking. I'm like, come on, you show something better. And especially the one speech where he's like, peace, not love, not war, not peace, but fear, but war, but love. He just like says everything like a million times. I swear.
I like it. It does have like also precedent in Japanese history because if I remember my limited knowledge, the military was blamed for the course Japan took during the Second World War. Because although they were supposed to renounce emperor, the way it was framed, at least based on my limited outsider knowledge, is that the military, the emperor was kind of a puppet, and the military betrayed him and took command because they wanted to be an empire.
Of course.
I mean, but it's all like internal politics, so.
It's politics.
But it's because the emperor was forced to renounce his divinity. And
Divinity.
Not really the ruler of Japan anymore, but the thinking was he was already kind of a figurehead because the military was running things already. You know what I mean?
Word. So going back to the movie.
But then, I mean that's what the precedent in the movie's from.
I'm just kidding.
Is kind of like the equivalent of the military, and the idea is, I guess this happened historically already.
Yeah.
They might not be trustworthy, and that's.
And it is that very short segment in the beginning, where they show what happens to him and his squad, and I was wondering what's going on. And I was like, why are they telling him not to do anything? And he's like, he's like, I have to react, and then he can't, and he just gets blown up, I guess, or something. Like that was him, right?
No, Sugi, that was our antagonist at the very beginning. The mastermind behind this.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and his squad getting taken out. Like, isn't that when he starts going like all crazy?
Well, this is where you start to get to real world politics intersect with the story here. I mean, pretty much there's been a motion or a movement in Japan to more or less kind of, especially in the light of the ascendance of China over the past couple of decades, to remilitarize it a bit, somewhat, more or less, because it's they don't want to be reliant entirely upon the Americans or the UN or whoever else for their own national defense and their own borders. And I mean, it's part of the, how would you say, the sovereignty of a country is being able to defend your borders. And so far, from what I understand, Japan doesn't actually have an army. They have a self-defense force, and I think they kind of got deployed maybe once, like.
They have an air force, a navy, and an army, but it's only for internal, domestic.
Not to go.
I was like, he didn't like it because in the beginning it's a real world operation. I was looking it up, and they're in Cambodia as part of the UN. But he's like, why are we part of the UN, or why are we doing military stuff as part of the UN when we're supposed to only be domestic military?
Yeah.
Get it right.
Well, I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's why I like
mean,
the back and forth between him and the detective was like
right.
was fun to watch.
Yeah. So basically, what I can get to the plot is, or the plot of the antagonist is that this guy has eyes open. He thinks he thinks that Japan's peace is untenable because that's not how the world operates anymore. You need to have an army. You know what
Well,
I mean?
I mean, he's right. Yeah,
I mean, he's right. And like I said, but also like
you don't have to do you don't
term,
have to go crazy about it.
but in real world Japanese politics, there's also been this push to be, if not militarized again, at least have a regular standing army like regular countries, just because there's a lot of unsettlement around them, or like the way the Chinese like to claim like most of the China Sea or whatever, or like the thing with territorial waters. So I think that this partly feeds upon that, or it's partly an expression of that. And it's the neat thing is it's really a question of what Japan's role is, I guess, or how it's meant to proceed and is going forward as a modern country. Like, as you notice, they keep mentioning Americans who may or may not have a part in this,
Are you just quoting the
or
movie now?
whether it's rogue elements, or official U.S. policy. They don't specify, but the implication is that there's a conspiracy going on. Ooh, who did that? And like you said, terrorism. It's it's not really a coup. It's a coup disguised as terrorism because they want to.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. I was like, what is he trying to gain? Like, what is he trying to gain, and how is he gaining it by doing what he's doing? That's what I didn't quite understand. Like, is he just trying to show Japan like this is how easy it is or whatever?
Yeah.
Like why you need all this in retaliation or something, like in some roundabout way. But
Right.
Wouldn't by what he's doing, wouldn't like that message not really be clearly get across that way or something? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think he wants to like wake the country up. But what is I guess the idea philosophically is that peace is a fragile state, and then like their peace is not based on any solid foundation. They need to rearm and pretty much have a proper military, be prepared for a fight. Just because even if they don't want to engage the outside world is going to engage them, which again goes back to Japan's whole history. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who always tend to benefit from war. Like, I mean, what is the friendly rules of acquisition? War is good for business. Peace is good for business.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a good line in there about like a fake peace or a truthful war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're starting a war, and he's like, there's always been a war. It's been on for years.
You guys are it's finally caught up with you.
Right, because so Japan trying to find its place in post-Cold War anywhere. As part of it. So I mean, a lot of it's interesting. It's like modern nation building, or your conception of what a country should be in a post-Cold War era.
Okay.
And then it's like that's a big chunk of the movie, and that's why it takes these philosophical detours.
Yeah. And I like just because the series, I guess the first movie is like in '89, this one's '93, so it does have that old school like Cold War like military kind of like mentality. Yeah.
And
well, there's like they got tanks and they got mechs and they got like it's all still kind of grounded, but like at the same time very very future like.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Over to the outpost. Oops.
Like, yeah, they got giant mechs, but they're also getting blown up by tanks.
Yeah. So I like it just for like the fresh take on it. The fresh take on it's pretty interesting. And like I said, it's not really about mechs, it's so much as about how your country
One man's love
is
for
gonna
a city.
navigate a brave new world. And like I said, I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of the hallmarks of Ghost in the Shell were there. I think,
Yeah, I didn't want to go into it too much because I guess we're gonna do Ghost in the Shell at some point. But yeah, a lot of the shots and like the style and kind of the opening when it opens with the computer tech stuff, you know, that kind of reminded me of it.
yeah.
But I think a lot of animes were doing that at that time.
But no, specifically
The city shots,
the
but the music in Ghost in the Shell helps a lot. I bet.
yeah. Well, the city shots is one big part of it. And I don't know if you noticed the other recurring theme is distorted reflections, like a little bit of fisheye lens effect, and sad doggies.
Yeah. But that's like when they're
Yeah, they
looking
do
through
that
a
too
camera.
much.
Yeah.
It's when they're like
They had,
looking through a screen or looking through like looking through a camera lens or something.
I think part of it was just to show off their like spectacular technique, because I mean,
Yeah.
that's what made it feel like such a more impactful movie, because they managed to capture these things that would be, well, more or less trivial in a live action film. You know, just put up the camera behind some glass, but you got to animate that. You got to have a really good notion or understanding of how light plays off shadow. You need to pretty much be a decent artist to do
You gotta
this.
be pro.
Do you think it serves the story, or is it just to look cool?
A little bit of both. I mean, he's
Yeah.
always philosophical and contemplative, and I think that's to be appreciated. And that helps with that, creating that atmosphere at once, because he's dealing with heavy questions, and he wants you all to be able to think about them. You know what I mean?
Oh. Yeah,
And
especially when it goes into those speeches and stuff. I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense to kind of like look around it.
I mean, the
Think
thing
about it.
is, health reduce. The story is
What the?
I mean, the art has to serve the story, and they're using every tool in the box to be able to do that. And oh, I died as well.
I saw that.
Personally, I like to I like the results. I like the way they came out. It just showed it was very artsy, but also the scenes were all very carefully composed. If you noticed, in terms of perspective and character location and angles. So it was like any filmmaker would take the time to seriously plan out your shots. And so this anime felt very cinematic, more so than a lot of animes I've seen.
Yeah,
Especially the newer stuff.
his do, yeah.
So I felt like it was justified in being up on the big screen, which I'm sorry I never saw in the theaters. May not get to.
Yeah. I do love the old school anime style for this movie. Is like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch the other movies now.
Why is he not responding?
Yeah.
I
So
I think you have to do it. I was gonna say this movie could have been 30 minutes shorter and wouldn't have lost anything, but it sounds like you would disagree because you like how cinematic it was.
yeah, I
mean,
feel like it could have been shorter.
I don't know. It's a question. I mean, he made these choices for a reason, but if you notice in his follow-up effort, he did trim.
Yeah, I think
mean,
he was like
it was-
refining that method. I'm glad
was
this
refining.
movie happened before the other one, so it wasn't. So he refined it so Ghost in the Shell happened.
Yeah.
And that was right after this too.
Yeah, no, so I think it was,
So yeah, if you wanna-
it was a practice run.
Yeah,
But he was
if you want to go in
we
the
got the benefit of. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to draw too much comparison, just because I mean we want to review that separately at some point, right?
yeah, the tank definitely reminded me of it.
Oh yeah, but that's just anime style. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, there's a typical anime tank. It's a
Oh,
typical
damn.
anime mecha.
Ouch. But yeah, if you want to talk about the animation style a little more, if you guys have anything to say about that, or if you want to keep,
Yeah, it was good.
or you want to talk about
Classic
the
80s.
maybe the characters a little more, like the detective chick I like. She was fun to watch. and the detective guy too, that having conversation. I'm sorry about with the names, and was talking to the investigator guy, with the lazy eye. He was, fun to watch. And so she had,
Yeah.
that was her ex lover, I guess,
Ex-boyfriend.
that
Yeah.
got her in trouble in the first place or whatever. Her little mark on her record,
Yeah.
that prevented her from being whatever higher up. Uh, and so that was her like old like love interest that got in the way of whatever. Now he's crazy.
Career advancement. Yeah.
She's like, so that's what happened to him.
Yeah, he went off. I think his experiences in war changed him, so he went off and decided he wanted to push Japan further into 21st and 20th century, I guess. I mean, and that's actually still kind of a question for the Japanese today, just especially given how much more aggressive China's been lately.
China.
They see they need to be able to defend themselves. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
also, you think about it, that treaty is now like 70 years out of date. I mean, it's a long time to go without a standing army.
Mm. Yeah,
They have an army. It's only for domestic.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's more like a police force. I mean, then you see that intersection where it's almost like police factions fighting.
New Dominion Tank Police.
Oh yeah.
Remember the Tank
Remember
Police? But yeah. I definitely love the animation from this era. Again, just late '80s, early '90s, or even late '90s. Like animation is just my favorite time period for that, and especially this with the giant mech action type of stuff. Like there wasn't a lot of it in this movie, but whenever it was there, it was sweet. Just the technology they try to flesh it out as much as they can, or like in much detail as they can, like to where it would be, you kind of take it seriously. What kind of mask is that? But yeah, definitely highly definitely highly recommend this as a watch for especially for Ghost in the Shell too, as it to see his style and how it evolves and the the animation style like is definitely there too. So I guess any final thoughts, or you want to score it or say anything else about it?
Well, I want to say something about content delivery, but I don't know. Arcus the second, anything to say?
I like the story and I like the themes. Like I said, it felt just like a real slow movie. It's like you have an important message. I'm having trouble staying engaged. I guess that's on me.
Yeah.
No, it
No, I
doesn't
feel
matter
you
if
on
it's
that.
the
I
same.
feel on that.
Based in individual matter, and I don't know. Maybe it's just yeah. I mean, you could make the argument that it could have been maybe paced a little quicker, or maybe picked up or moved along a little more quickly. But it was only 2 hours, not even. I mean,
It was
But
2
that's
hours.
not his style either.
yeah, but it's also not what he tries to do as a filmmaker.
Where'd you get that
Although,
costume?
Like, if you notice though, like, don't want to talk too much about the following next movie, but Ghost in the Shell, that's only like 90 minutes, so that clips along at a much faster rate.
That's the
Although
refinement.
he does have some time to put in some trademark scenery and video
Just
shots.
damn questions about life. Yeah, another thing I noticed throughout his movies is they all have some kind of similar like theme of about like either like uncovering something, or like either like you're in a dream, or there's like some kind of you know underlying thing going on that everybody should become aware of, or something, or awakening, or get woke, or something like that. Like there's the Beautiful Dreamer, and then the other one, the Angel's Egg, which I think is just Beautiful Dreamer 2, and then this one where it's like the guy's main whole thing, the bad guy is just wants the city to awaken, like out of this like fairy tale, like no, wake up to all the evil that war is doing, that your own country or is what you're what feeds the country is just the the war machine that we're all don't take part in, but we're happy to reap the benefits of. And that's like every country ever, and well, major country.
Yeah. All the European empires. I'm sure the average citizen didn't think too much about what was going on overseas.
Yeah. So I like that aspect of it, and oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, try not to die there. What was I saying? Sorry.
Part dreaming, but also part.
Oh yeah, so they all are kind of like There's always, I feel like there's like, and then Ghost in the Shell is the same thing. It's like the branch
like
between the metal and the man and the machine, or like a new consciousness of something of some sorts. I gotta see his other movies to see if they're all like that. But yeah, if you guys want to score it, you can wrap it up.
Well, I got a whole bunch
final thoughts or score. Yeah, go ahead. Get into that.
Get into like going to talk about, which is the Okay, let's talk media, content delivery.
Side note.
Go into it.
Yes.
How we watch the movie.
All right. How we watch the movie. So apparently there's several websites you can use to watch the movie, but I didn't do that because I heard that you could just go to the Verve web, just watch it on Verve, that service, right? And I
didn't know it still existed.
Yeah, me too. I was kind of surprised. I mean, it's apparently linked to Crunchyroll, or was. I mean, it's funny because
it's like it has all of them in there or something weird.
Some overlap, but it's also not as great. And I'm like thinking to myself, this is great. I'm gonna I just put the app on my PlayStation, no problemo.
That's what I did.
Watch the movie, and then two things.
I didn't have a problem.
I had major problems with advertisements. I had not realized how spoiled I've been by everything else not having advertisements.
Sounds like you're still spoiled.
I am still spoiled because I tried to watch this thing with advertisements, and you've got, especially with this kind of movie, where you've got this guy doing this philosophical hot take, and you're thinking about it. Then suddenly, come to Trader Joe's or go get some barbecue or whatever the heck they're selling. I don't know what the hell they were selling. I kind of tuned them out for the commercials.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's like, God damn it! I was watching this, and then suddenly
I was watching this.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, they're giving it to you to watch. By the way, they're making it available for you to watch. The same advertisements. Advertisements. Oh yeah, other side note real quick. The audio, I don't know if it's the Verve copy or whatever, but I couldn't hear crap. The audio, the dialogue was just the lowest I've ever heard in like any movie.
So quiet.
Yeah, and I was
this
like,
is where it gets good.
I think it was the audio. I think it was from the movie, like the audio mixing from the movie, and like how they recorded the movie. But
yeah, because I watched it on a different medium than you guys, and I figured out how high the volume on my TV goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
100. I had it up to, usually it's like right now it's on like 10 for most things, but I had it up to 70, and then the lawnmower went by and I couldn't hear anything even at 100.
Wow.
Yeah. It might just be a quiet movie.
It is a quiet movie.
Like I said, it lends itself more to contemplation and action, even though there is that action aspect to it.
And I wish I watched the subtitle, but I was watching.
No, you don't.
Why?
I'll tell you why you don't.
Why?
You hadn't wished you watched the subtitle. So I got this Verve service. I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is great. I can watch it. I can dig around. I start looking around the menu. Like, the first thing that pops up is the dub version. So okay. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big fan of 90s dubbing, although, as I found out eventually, this actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But what was horrible is like, oh, I found the subtitle version. Let me start watching that. And the volume matters a little bit less because then you can actually just read the dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, there's the fun part. So fun part 1. Every time there's an advertisement, guess what gets desynced?
What the
subtitles where they keep going?
The subtitles get sped up or slowed down or something because I'd like hit an ad and be like, ugh, like just trying to think what I was watching, and then go back to it, and then it comes back on, and then suddenly the subtitles are on there, but then they flash and they disappear really quickly. They're like not synced up at all. And it's like, okay, well, great. So then I figured out eventually that if I pause this and let it like refresh itself, the subtitles come back. It's like, okay, I can deal with this. I already had to break once to watch advertisement. I've sort of Pavloved myself really quickly into be like, okay, I'll immediately just go pause the movie after the adverts and let the subtitles catch back up. So okay, I can watch it this way, and then like I'm already thinking, man, this is just not. I'm not having a good time. I'm loving the movie, but I'm not having a good time trying to watch it.
Right, you like it as much as you did all those interruptions. You have to
Yeah.
let the movie sit in your head and breathe.
Yeah.
Especially this one.
Didn't even do that.
I agree.
Yeah,
The ads came in at the
this is where it
worst
gets better.
spots too. I was like, and then like mid everything, I'm like, it's like,
Yeah.
and there's like 3 or 4 or 5 in a row. I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't mind the ads. I just push mute and then I'll wait and I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care. I can totally push mute. I do not mind that at all. I was like, you're giving me the ability to watch the movie that I can't anywhere else, and I'm like, I'm happy. But yeah, the ads are the worst, like terrible spots, and it was kind of like jumpy when it did come back to it. It was kind of like mid sentence or something like that.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can handle this. I sort of got a routine going. So many freaking ad breaks too, so it felt like it took a lot longer than it should have.
There was a lot, yeah.
And it's like for the same thing, I watch the same advertisement like 4 times in a row, and then it break, and then I watch the same advertisement again 4 times in a row. And now I'm not even gonna say what it was because I don't deserve any of my mental space, whoever they were.
Yeah, TV ads are bad, or ads are bad for that.
Yeah. So there's that, but then here's the kicker, and the part that just absolutely made me lose my shit and give up watching for the evening, is that about an hour and 25 minutes in, subtitles just don't exist anymore.
You try
As in, come back-
restarting the app?
Yeah, I restarted the app, restarted the PlayStation.
And then you have to start all those ads again.
Yeah, and I tried to picked it up. I tried to pick up where I left off. I gotta watch some ads again before I can get to where I left off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah,
I'm
and
surprised you
then-
don't hate the movie just by association.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate the movie. I love the movie because despite all that, they won me over because I was interested in what it was trying to do.
I gotta see
They
it.
They had my interest and my attention. It was just everything on the way to that was really.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a terrible time. The only thing I had problem with is just there's too many of them and I had to push mute and I was like, man. But
So
beyond that,
go away.
the audio is very low in that movie. But I think that's a movie problem.
And this was like
You know,
11
it was,
o'clock
it was
last
the
night.
quietest thing on mine too.
Yeah.
So subtitles go away, and I'm like, I can't deal with this. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, man, I was really into this. And now I'm like, okay, I'm just cock block an hour in. Just like, ugh. So I turn it off, and then I come back, and I like start again the next day. And then I was like, well, I just got to watch it dubbed. And I was like, man. Okay, I know I said before I don't miss 80s dubbing. This was a little bit better just because it was 90s dubbing.
Yeah, it was alright,
So
Jeff.
that helped. So that helped. The fact that the dubbing wasn't terrible. Like you want to. Oh, you know this terrible dubbing. Besides, what can we call it? Beautiful Dreamer. Compared to the subtitles, where it really stands out, is something like. I got a whole other story about Perfect Blue, but we'll get into that later. But it's like, so here's the thing. I love the movie. I absolutely can't stand now VRV. It got to the point where I was like, look at the selection. I could maybe just fold in my Crunchyroll and I could just like go ahead and have everything. I want it all, you know. But then nope. Their content delivery mechanism is so crappy. It's like that I will not think about giving them money anymore. It's because like I don't have subtitles. I can't keep my place without skipping through 20,000 ads. I don't know if it'd get any better if I went premium. Maybe.
Don't pay for that trash.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's how they get you with the premium. They're like, let's make the ads so atrocious that they'll want to get the premium. Put them in the bad spots. It'll make your subtitles disappear. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm not paying for this crap. And it's like, man. So what I wanted was just decent content delivery.
That mute button, baby.
Couldn't get that, so I'm really not happy with the VRV service at all.
I haven't even heard of VRV before this, but it sounds like it's the worst thing.
Yeah, it's not great, but I mean, I watched the movie and it looked good. Quality looked good.
Did.
Sound couldn't hear it, but it looked good.
That was more like a movie problem than a,
Yeah.
than a mechanism. That's
Had no problem loading or buffering or anything like that. So for that was good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just my little VRV rant. Like,
Yeah.
man,
Well, I went straight to dubbed, so I was like,
so you missed out because I was really annoyed. Man. Actually, this funny thing. The same thing happened to me at Perfect Blue, but not on TV. In a movie theater, where I went to a theater. This is maybe 4 times, obviously. I went to go see Perfect Blue in a theater, and it starts, and it's like the only thing I get tickets to was for the dub version. And I'm like, man, of course the sub versions for some reason is on during the week at like 3 o'clock when I'm supposed to be at work or something.
yeah.
And so I end up buying tickets for the dub version. I was like, okay, I'll just grit my teeth into it because I want to see it. I get to the movie, it starts late. Literally, the anime started like 10 minutes late. And then it starts out. It's a subtitle version. I was like, oh, great, this is great. Okay, bonus. Guess what happens about 15 minutes into the movie?
Oh no, they turn off?
They stop it. Some guy comes out and says, we're sorry, this is supposed to be the dub version, so we're going to start it over from the dubbing part.
Yeah.
Why would they care?
You know,
Well, that's not what they advertised.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess some people don't like having to read.
Yeah.
Well, it's not what they paid to go see. Because, like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're picking between the two, you have a preference.
Yeah. Although my preference was determined solely by availability, just because I couldn't make the sub setting. And so like it's like, man, you'd think I wouldn't like that movie either, but actually it's been one of the few times the movie theater screwed up for me. That particular movie theater, blowing it and spot up.
I got to see that movie twice, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, 1.5 times. Because it's like, man, but I still like Perfect Blue, so I think we should maybe talk about that at some point.
Yeah, if we get around to it.
But yeah,
Probably should have saved that
final
story
thoughts.
for when we saw Perfect Blue. When we do Perfect Blue.
I'll bring it up again. Don't worry.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to rate it or recommend it?
I want to rate it. Yeah, that's a good question. Marcus, the second, you want to go first while I collect my thoughts here?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
I like where they're going, but it's like not for me. Like the story was good. I just feel they could have got there way sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have to give it a little, maybe more like a. I don't know. What would you be if you converted that to a decimal scale? So 3 out of 5 would be 6 out of 10. I'm gonna have to give it like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. The art style alone was well worth the price of admission, in my opinion. That was just something that was.
And you
great.
paid for it, all right. You paid for those
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, and there's like I really love the philosophical aspect, and I'm less bothered by slow pacing because maybe I'm just patient, I have a high DS tolerance.
Yeah, it depends on the movie. Like, if it wasn't
Yeah.
as interesting or the animation style wasn't as good, I probably wouldn't have been able to deal with it as much.
I will admit, if it was badly animated, I probably would have lost interest. But the story they did have, even though it was delivered slowly, was still very, very well done. It's thought-provoking. It's like I said, like all his work, it's got that philosophical aspect to it.
Yeah.
The story beats were confusing, but like the overall story was direct.
Yeah. And that's maybe down to a difference of storytelling technique, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
also.
who's doing what now? Like, why, what's happening here? But then it's like, he said, there's like a clear reason for why it was happening, and like the ultimate point was clear. Just like the individual actions at times can be confusing.
Yeah, I guess the second time around it would be a lot better, but that doesn't seem like a movie that would. It doesn't seem like it would want to try to be that movie. I don't know.
No, I think I would like if I could find it on. I think I might just straight up go buy the DVD.
Yeah. Get the
just so I could
trilogy.
actually watch it.
That person looks cool. Italian made. But yeah, I give it a
like without interruptions.
yeah, for real. I give it a I give it a 3 out of 5 as well. Like I dig the art style. I dig where they're going. It's just a little too slow, a little too, yeah, just kind of over the place, cuts wise and, and shots wise. It's just like not his best effort, but definitely good, worth a watch. I want to watch the other ones now, so there's that.
Yeah. From what I understand, they're maybe a little bit more conventional.
There's the
This one,
series, and then there's like the other 2 movies. I'll focus with the movies first, and then if I like those, then I'll maybe dig into the series or something. Maybe, I don't know.
So like yours, yeah, so it is. Like the first one was a little more conventional, and then this one you just tends to go off on a tangent, and then it kind of gets back to normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're kind of just reviewing the odd ones out in these series, just because of the way he did them and the interesting results that came out of it.
We're bringing an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be hurting it, because I'm like, this was confusing. I don't know who the characters are, because I never watched the show, so why would I know?
Yeah. Why am I watching this movie?
But I feel like if you watch the first movie, like I feel like they're it's that sequel thing where it's like the character was in the first movie, so they should be in the second movie, but they don't have as much to do as they should have. So
yeah.
Kind of put in there.
They're like, I feel like the cover girl was there for a second, and they're there, but I feel like maybe they're in the first movie more. Like the 2 younger technicians, they're like talking about practicing in the mechs and stuff.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. So maybe,
Well, but I mean, they're on the cover of the damn boxes, but which is weird because she's barely in this one. But yeah, 3 out of 5. I recommend it. Not highly recommend it, but I recommend it if you're into this type of thing. Worth a watch.
Oh yeah, definitely worth a watch.
Like, I mean, if you go in knowing what it is, like I knew Angel's Egg would have no dialogue and be pretty slow. It wasn't so bad. But when I see giant mechs on a box art, I expect some action.
Yeah, I wanted more action too, man. I'm with you there.
That's last 15 minutes.
And the animation style and like their job is to ride around in mechs. So, like, I feel like it's not really about their job, but they cheated around like their whole existence as unit and everything like that, and like the politics between like her not even being captain yet or something weird, like how she didn't want to accept it, and she's like, yeah, okay, now I'm gonna do it. And she's like, you go and do the job, and stuff like that. I feel it's probably it does feel like a kind of midpoint in like whatever's going on.
Yeah, but I did like the aspect of it because it just makes the mechs actually feel that much more real because they're just part of the everyday world that they're in, you know.
Yeah. We're no E-frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only. That would be a great anime. Oh, where's that anime?
And it's not like, I feel in other shows it would have been like, alright, bust out the mechs, and it's like that's gonna magically solve the problem.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't seem like they helped that much. And one guy got destroyed.
They all got blown up in the hangar.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess you got anything else to say, Cannon? I'm gonna wrap it up.
I'll say wrap it up. No, great stuff overall. I enjoyed it. I'm suddenly apparently just turning into a big Mamoru Oshii fanboy.
You didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
I already was, and I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely recommend it. Give that one a watch, but pick it up on DVD and
don't watch it on VRV.
Sucks.
Yeah. Watch it on anything else besides VRV if you can. Which I didn't. I don't mind. I didn't mind doing it. Watch the dub version, turn it up loud, and get ready with that mute button for those ads because they come in real loud. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Gameplaydismay's review for Patlabor 2 by Mamoru Oshii, 1993, I believe. And yeah, we'll catch you next time with another anime movie, which is yet to be decided. I'm not sure what we're gonna do yet. So yeah, see you next time.